I hate putting them against each other, but I think it's very important, as I kind of led with this in the beginning. I think there's a feeling under the surface, and maybe it's not even under the surface, it's just out there for everybody to see. But there is the myth that millennials have it substantially harder than the boomers did.
Yeah, we hear about this all the time, that with the older generations, the boomer generation, you could get a house with a white picket fence and you could only have one spouse working, and a tank of gas only cost a nickel, and the cost of college could be done with a part-time job, and it was just easy, right? While a lot of those things have changed, yes, college is more expensive. Most families now have to have two incomes. Gas and groceries have gotten more expensive. There are some huge advantages that millennial have. I love, Brian, I was going to give you credit for this, and you said it right there. You have this optimist mindset, and you've always told me this, that we all have a voice in our head that can control the way that we view the world and the way that we make decisions. And if you can learn how to frame that voice in a positive trajectory, it's amazing the impact you can have in your life. Because what, as a millennial, you cannot do, you can't go change what the boomers did.
Yeah.
And you can't go change what the Xers did. And you can't go change what anyone before who's done. All you can change is your current circumstance and the current deck of cards you have to play with. And so one of the things I would encourage millennials to think through is, what are my advantages? What are the things right now where the deck is stacked in my favor that I can take advantage of so that my future looks just as bright as I feel like some of my previous generation's futures looked?
Yeah, and the first thing, if we're trying to name off the things that I think younger investors have over older investors, there's never been a better time to be an investor. Mm-hmm. I even think about my own journey, is there used to be all these commissions you'd have to pay. You couldn't do anything direct. You had to go through middlemen or buy direct through a broker, and they charge you a commission of 5% on it. Now you can buy index funds.
Yep.
Anybody can go on the internet and you can go to the biggest providers of index funds is like Fidelity Investments, Charles Schwab, Vanguard. Everything is on the internet. You can set it and forget it. There's so many things to be thankful for that it's never been easier to start building wealth today.
How about this? Some of the sexiest, most attractive account savings vehicles, investing vehicles out there weren't even around way back when. If you think about this, 401k plans introduced in 1978. The Roth IRA that we all get so excited about came out in 1998. And health savings accounts, which are triple tax advantaged, sometimes even quadruple tax advantaged, didn't even come around until 2004. So now, more than ever, there are opportunities for you to take advantage of these savings vehicles and really build very efficient, tax-efficient wealth over the long term.
Yeah, and think about 2023. Wasn't that the year that now 529s can become Roth? I mean,
this is right.
So I do think there are some advantages that to being younger and being a millennial when it comes to investing. Now, let's pivot because we're investors. You know, we've already shared. Hopefully you guys have gotten excited. A little bit goes a long way. I don't care if it's $20, $50, $100. Make something happen today. But I think it goes beyond just saving and investing. What are some other advantages that millennials have?
Well, here's a beautiful one. We grew up with technology. A lot of the older generations, a lot of the older Xers, a lot of the baby boomers.
Whoa. Where are you going with the Xers?
You know, they were around pre-internet. They were around pre-personal computer. They were around pre-cell phone. They were around pre-fill in the blank. This is all second nature to us. We grew up with it. So as the world continues to advance, as the world continues to change, as the job market continues to evolve, because that was what we were formed by, it's a lot easier for us to adapt and learn new skill sets and take advantage of those changes in technology. I think that's something that millennials don't often think about, but when a new app comes along, or a new software, or a new program, or a new protocol, we're able to pick it up fairly quickly because we've had to do that our entire lives. For generations that existed before that, I don't know that the learning curve is quite as gradual. I think it's a whole lot steeper.
I'm willing to agree with that. I'm old enough. I'm not a boomer, as I've shared multiple times, because I don't want to be grouped in with that, but I am a person that's had a foot both in old school as well as the new technology world. And it does get harder as things move, and I think younger people adapt easier and faster, and that's a very powerful skill for the future. Let's talk about another one, Bo. I know as you get older, and I know I think about my life expectancy and mortality and other things, You don't get to take it with you. So what's going to happen to all the assets and all the resources that the boomers have built up?
Yeah, if you think about it, if the boomers were able to build all this wealth and they had this easy path to wealth and they've accumulated all these resources, eventually that's going to have to go somewhere. Eventually that's going to have to pass down to prior generations. And so it looks like over the next decade, there's likely going to be a massive transition of wealth from one generation to the next generation, whether that be down to the X generation or even down to the millennial generation. So these resources are going to go somewhere. And even if not to you directly, you're thinking, oh, well, I don't have a lineage where I'm going to have a huge inheritance. That's not necessarily mean. A lot of those dollars are going to flow back into the economy.
Well, how about their houses?
Their houses
think about
are going to come on the market.
People they're not going to need these houses. There is going to be a circulation of resources, I think, just as people age out, pass away. That it's just part of the cleansing process of this. And millennials will be the beneficiary of a lot of that. And then here's the other thing. I think half the part of finding a solution is recognizing that there's actually a problem. And I think millennials have are very aware, based upon a lot of the research and the data that's out there, that it's on your shoulders. Social Security is not going to be your salvation and solution.
Pensions aren't around.
You can't count on pensions anymore. So you know where the cold, hard facts are, but that allows you, since you can't control all the other stuff, you get to be the solution to your financial life and maximizing all those opportunities.
Here's the deal. We know that building wealth is not easy. The world that we live in is not easy, but the steps are relatively simple. The ingredients are relatively simple. If you can have discipline and you can live on less than you make and generate money, and you can apply that money to investing and saving over time, you can build wealth even if you are a millennial. Even if you're someone who's 27 to 42 years old, in this world in which we live, it's not complicated. You just have to have the fortitude to make the decisions that I'm going to start today making decisions that are going to put myself on the trajectory to be where I want to be in the future.
There were a lot of things I just covered that you can see how younger generations can look at the boomers and older generations and be jealous because of how easy a lot of these things proceed to be. If I could be honest and tell you what are the older generations looking at you and are jealous of, it's going to be time.
That's right.
So you have today to make the decision that you're not going to squander that valuable resource of time. Just take a little bit of today for that great, big, beautiful tomorrow. And I think you'll be amazed at how that small little incremental decision that you don't even miss is going to change your life to the point that your 50-year-old self is going to come to you one day and give you a big, sloppy bear hug that's wet with happy tears and be like, thank you, thank you, thank you for making that decision.